Good day and welcome to AECI Chempark. We urge you to pay attention to this safety induction video, as it will supply you with an overview of what is required of you while on our site. Our goal is zero harm. We aspire to operate sustainably without harm to people, the environment, and the communities in which we operate. We trust your stay on our site will be fruitful and safe. We look forward to seeing you again. AECI Chempark houses AECI Specialty Chemicals, AECI Industrial Chemicals, AECI Plant Health, AECI Animal Health, AECI Property Services, and AECI Mining Chemicals. As safety is our primary focus, we have introduced 10 life-saving behaviors on our journey to zero harm, which will be explained in this video. They are: work permit required, confined spaces, atmospheric testing, isolation and zero energy testing, verify ignition sources, always use your PPE, be authorized and competent, secure yourself when working at heights, avoid suspended loads and moving equipment and vehicles, follow journey management plan when driving, concentrate while driving, and everyone must buckle up. We've also introduced 15 critical safe behaviors. These are: conduct pre-job preparation, keep clear from pinch points, follow manual handling and lifting techniques, stay clear of line of fire, use safe tools and equipment, avoid awkward body positioning, keep eyes on path or task, conduct safe pushing or pulling, maintain good housekeeping, assess and use safe walking and work surfaces, obtain required work permit, apply and adhere to warning systems, always use your PPE, secure yourself when working at heights, conduct isolation and zero energy testing. Please adhere to our 15 critical safe behaviors which are displayed throughout the site. Please watch the video carefully as you may be tested afterwards. AECI Chempark has implemented certain measures to keep you safe and to protect each other against infectious and contagious diseases. Everyone must practice good hygiene at all times. Please feel free to use sanitizers which are installed for you in strategic areas. There are a number of hazards on this site, some of which include hazardous chemicals, for example, hydrochloric acid, hydrofluoric acid, sulfur dioxide, caustic soda, oleum and others, lifting equipment, moving machinery, general traffic, slippery floors, heat and steam, fire or explosion, gas cylinder storage, and dust. No alcohol, drugs, dagga, knives, firearms or explosives are allowed on site. We reserve the right to urine test or breathalyze anyone we suspect of being under the influence of or in possession of illegal substances, and if the test is positive, access will be denied. In the case of AECI Chempark employees, disciplinary procedure will be followed. All vehicles brought on site must be roadworthy and licensed. Drivers must hold a valid driver's license. Drivers must know the height of their vehicle and check the height restrictions before entering the site. After watching the video, your fingerprints will be recorded and the security register must be signed at the main security reception to allow entry and exit of our site. You will then receive an induction card which is valid for 1 year. If you have a medical condition such as asthma, inform the receptionist, as you will be required to go to the medical center for an examination prior to entry. Visitors will then be directed to the main reception building, where they will be collected by their host. Contractors will be collected by their host from the security reception. The host will ensure that everyone has the correct PPE. The host is responsible for the visitor and contractor until they leave the site. Visitors, please stay with your host at all times. All equipment and tools brought onto site must be declared, and an accurate tool list must be available and presented to security on entrance. No equipment or samples may be removed from these premises without the relevant authorized documentation. All chemicals brought onto the site must be accompanied by a safety data sheet. On entry and exit, people and belongings may be searched. Please cooperate with our security personnel. You may only smoke, vape, or eat in the designated areas. There are a number of change rooms and ablution facilities available on site. Please keep them clean. No play fighting or fooling around will be tolerated. Sleeping on site is not allowed. When using the stairs, keep an eye on where you are going. Always hold the handrails. Always have one foot in contact with the stair. Running is prohibited anywhere on site. The use of cell phones and headsets is restricted, and no photographs may be taken without authorization. Walking and texting is also prohibited, as you need to be alert to the hazards on site. No one may talk to the media. All media inquiries must be directed to the authorized media spokesperson. Drivers and passengers must always wear safety belts. Please obey the one-way signs. Speed limit of 20 km per hour for vehicles and all other road signs. No risky overtaking is allowed. Please reverse park in designated parking areas. Equipment must be securely tied down. Passengers may not ride on the back of a bakkie. Do not use compressed air to clean yourself or your clothes, as it is dangerous because small particles can get into your eyes or penetrate your skin. Any incident, near miss, damage to buildings or equipment must be reported immediately to your host, foreman, or line manager on the same shift or before the end of the same shift, who in turn will report to the SHE manager. Contractors and employees must make a point of finding out where the nearest emergency assembly point is. The AECI host is also responsible for informing his visitors and contractors of this, as well as where the alarm buttons, emergency showers and eye wash stations are located before starting work. In the event of an emergency, an alarm will sound. If you witness any emergency, please report it to your host or supervisor or press the alarm button. If the alarm sounds, visitors must stay with their host. Workers and contractors must immediately stop work, turn off any machinery and equipment and walk, do not run. Proceed to the nearest emergency assembly point, where a roll call will be conducted to ensure that all people on the site are accounted for. Once the all clear has been given, please return to your place of work. If you come into contact with a hazardous chemical, use diaphoterine within the first 60 seconds until all the content in the bottle is finished. Report to the line manager and then immediately to the clinic. If no diaphoterine is available, step into the emergency shower, turn it on, remove your clothes, and stay in the shower until medical assistance arrives. If any of these hazardous chemicals get into your eyes, use 1 bottle of diaphoterine for each eye within the first 60 seconds until all the content in the bottles is finished, and report to the line manager and then immediately to the clinic. If there is no diaphoterine available, rinse your eyes at the eye wash station for at least 20 minutes and report to the line manager and then immediately to the clinic. First aid kits are available for minor injuries, or you can go to the clinic for treatment, while more seriously injured workers will be taken to hospital. Gas Release Response Plan, AECI Chempark. The following gas releases could occur at AECI Chempark: sulfur dioxide or sulfur trioxide gas released from industrial chemicals, LP gas from the Sasol gas station on site, chlorine gas from NCP, Ammonia release from Zero Appliances. Ammonia release from AECI Mining. Please take note of the following gas release evacuation areas. A gas release alarm is indicated by an undulating or intermittent alarm. Our emergency alarm is tested every Friday at 12 o'clock. Continuous siren sounding for 2 minutes. If you notice a gas release or you hear an intermittent alarm from NCP, Zero Appliance or AECI Mining, this is what to do. Activate our emergency alarm by pressing the gas button. On hearing a gas alarm, move to the nearest identified area or gas room. Close all windows and doors. Switch off all air conditioners and fans. Remain indoors until you are advised of an all clear or you hear a continuous siren. If you are inside a vehicle, close all windows, switch off air conditioners and close all air vents. Travel crosswind or upwind if you are able to determine the wind direction. When you are clear of the danger area, open the windows to clear the air. Visitors may now depart. Thank you and enjoy your visit. Collections, deliveries, contractors and employees, please remain. When loading or unloading, chocks must be used. Double stacking of drums and climbing on top of drums whilst loading or offloading is not permitted. The load must be evenly distributed and the vehicle load capacity must not be exceeded. Vehicles may not carry any unauthorized passengers or goods. When loading tankers, a mobile or fixed safety platform must be used to access the manhole. If a mobile safety platform is being used, always apply the brakes and outriggers once the platform is in position. Use the 3-point contact system when ascending and descending the platform. One foot should always be in contact, both hands on the handrail, and keep eye contact. A cantilever with a retractable lifeline must be used when loading or offloading tankers. Make sure that you know how the cantilever system operates. Dangerous goods, truck loading and unloading can only be done by a dangerous goods operator and the driver. A pre-inspection must be undertaken to make sure that the dangerous load is secure. The load must be authorized for transport with a PRDP permit for the transport of dangerous goods. The vehicle must display a placard describing the dangerous goods carried, and warning diamonds must be placed on the front of the vehicle. Follow your journey management plan for emergency assistance in the event of any incident and stay fresh when behind the wheel, guaranteeing the safety of yourself and others. Only drive or operate vehicles that you are competent, licensed and authorized for. Inspect vehicle before use and only drive if roadworthy. Select safest route before departure and follow it. Take breaks at set times and in authorized rest areas before traveling. Check all conditions, road, weather, light, etc. and avoid routes with mist or fog. While driving, remain focused and avoid any distractions. No cell phones. Never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Carry emergency and medical information in the vehicle. Apply medical aid and EMS stickers to the vehicle. Make sure everyone follows all requirements. Safety belts can save lives and reduce injuries in vehicle accidents. Driving at high speed increases the risk of accident. Distracted drivers are a major cause of accidents. Stay focused and just drive. Drivers must be totally focused on the road and must not be distracted. Drivers and passengers must always wear safety belts and check that your safety belt works correctly and it is positioned across your body. Just drive. Never use mobile phones or any other devices while driving. Passengers must not distract the driver. Obey all traffic laws, including speed limits. Check all conditions, road, weather, light, etc. and drive carefully according to the indicated hazards and risks. Adjust your speed and driving style for the conditions. Collections and deliveries may now depart. Contractors and employees, please remain until the end of the video. The sections we'll cover in this video are contractor program, medical fitness, always use your PPE, Work permit required. Be authorized and competent. Portable electrical equipment. Secure yourself when working at heights. Confined space atmospheric testing. Isolation and zero energy testing. Verify ignition sources. Machine guards. Avoid suspended loads and moving equipment or vehicles. Ergonomics. Stacking and storage. Housekeeping. Environment and waste disposal. Office safety. Contractors must have their contractor sheaf file when reporting to start a contract. This file should contain all documents requested in the list supplied by the relevant host of the contractors, such as the letter of good standing. Once you have successfully passed the safety induction test, you will be issued with an induction card. Every contractor must appoint a supervisor that would take responsibility of all SHE matters whilst on site. Make sure that you and your workers understand our rules and those of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. All new employees must have a pre-employment medical, followed by a periodical assessment and an exit medical when leaving the employment of AECI. Contractors must undergo a medical examination and submit copies of their medical certificates with their respective contractor's SHE file before being allowed to start the contract. Employees will need to undertake further medical examination to ensure fitness for specific work types. The clinic offers voluntary testing and counseling for health conditions for our employees. We also have an employee assistance program for employees or their families with ICAS. Use personal protective equipment or PPE at work to protect your body, including your eyes, face, head, hands, feet, and torso, keeping you healthy, safe, and risk-free. Wear PPE as required by task risk assessments, work permits, and work procedures. Wear all prescribed PPE when handling hazardous chemicals. Understand the safety data sheet of a chemical before working with it. Make sure you know how to use, care for, decontaminate, and dispose of your PPE correctly. Check condition of all PPE before work starts and immediately replace if needed. Make sure everyone follows the requirements. The minimum PPE at Chempark comprises of a safety helmet, safety glasses, overalls, and safety boots or gumboots with steel caps. In demarcated areas, you will also be required to wear ear protection or a dust mask. Additional specialized PPE is required in other areas, so please adhere to the PPE safety signage. Some areas of the plant and some work types require the use of a respirator, so make sure you know how to use one. Insert valid cartridges into the respirator. Place the elastics over your head and tighten them, making sure that no air can get into the mask. Please make sure that you keep your PPE clean. And remember, no modification of PPE is allowed. All sides must identify work that requires a work permit and ensure no work starts without a permit being issued. Responsibilities are clearly outlined in site procedure for work permits. The permit issuer must be trained and appointed by management. The permit acceptor must be a trained and competent person who can accept work permits. Permit issuers and permit acceptors must visit the work site before the permit is issued and after the work is complete. Permit issuers must positively identify the equipment to be worked on to the permit acceptor at the site. Reduce hazards to acceptable levels before work starts. Ensure work permits cover all work to be completed. An on-site risk assessment must be completed by the clearance issuer and acceptor. Team members must understand permit requirements and comply at all times. Permit issuers must ensure that the equipment is returned to its original state and the area is cleaned before sign-off. Make sure everyone follows site procedures for work permits. Work must stop when the issuer leaves the site, an unsafe condition or an emergency situation arises, or job conditions change. Only do work if you are qualified, competent, and authorized to do so. You run a higher risk of injury to yourself and others if incompetent. Training improves performance and reduces risk of injury. On-the-job training, make sure task-specific procedures and work instructions are understood and applied. Competence means using your knowledge and skills to reach intended results, allowing you to work efficiently, productively, and safely. Make sure everyone is given the correct job-specific procedures and instructions. Detailed information about hazards, risks, and controls, as well as any safety measures for the environment and work to be performed. Authorization. Authorized workers are given official permission for specific work, such as work permits, appointment letters, and job descriptions. No employee may operate any motor-driven equipment unless trained, licensed, and authorized by site management. No employee may enter hazardous areas unless authorized by site management. All portable electrical equipment must be entered in the department register and inspected monthly, and must be in a good condition, have secure casings, and be earthed or double insulated. 3-point plugs must be in good condition and fit well. Extension cables must be in good condition, not longer than 30 meters, and inspected as per registered schedule before use. Working at heights means working in any place where you can fall a distance, causing serious life-threatening injuries or death. Only work at height if you are trained, authorized, and competent. Make sure you are trained in the fall protection plan and follow it at all times. Always use a fall protection system like physical barriers where possible. Make sure fall arrest equipment is suitable for the work and inspected before use at scheduled intervals by competent people. Make sure the fall arrest equipment fits the fall distance. When working at heights, you must be secured at all times. Choose a safe anchor point. No work is allowed when you are in danger of free falling from a height. Always ensure double tie off when moving in an elevated position. One lanyard must always be attached. Always work secured at height. If you need to unsecure yourself and you can free fall, stop work immediately. A confined space is any enclosed, restricted, or limited space area which is not for continuous human occupancy. These spaces have an oxygen-deficient atmosphere and hazardous substances may accumulate. Each site must classify all confined spaces in their boundaries. Never enter a confined space alone. Persons in confined spaces must obey all requirements, including work permits. Confined spaces must be well ventilated and free of toxic or explosive gases. Test and record atmosphere before entry and at set intervals. Emergency escape plans, rescue, and other equipment must be available at the work site. Make sure everyone follows all requirements. Isolation and zero-energy testing prevents injury from or exposure to moving machinery, electricity, high-pressure fluids, hot or toxic materials or chemicals, poisonous gas or radiation. Isolation follows the LOTO rule: lock out and tag out. Verify and confirm all energy sources are isolated and safe to start work. Attach personal locks to guarantee isolation and/or lockout before beginning work. Test for zero energy on electrical equipment. Check that equipment has been isolated by trying to start and operate the equipment. Team leaders must confirm it is safe to start work and make sure everyone follows all requirements. Hot work can create heat, sparks, or flames and can be a source of ignition. In potentially flammable atmospheres, test for gas before hot work starts and at set time intervals. To prevent fires and explosions, no hot work on any tanks, vessels, pipelines containing product and/or residue without proper isolation. Cleaning and venting. Keep work area clean and free of flammable material. Ignition sources must only enter flammable areas under strict control. Check product SDS or safety data sheets and flashpoints before work starts. All equipment must be earthed and under strict control. If gas meter alarms sound, stop all hot work. Smoke in designated areas. Ensure all sparks are contained and make sure everyone follows all requirements. All machinery must be made safe with machine guards. Never start or operate any machine if the guard limit switch or interlock is missing, damaged or inadequate. Any machine guards that are removed for maintenance or other work must be securely replaced. Suspended loads are objects temporarily raised off the ground. Make sure lifting equipment is declared safe before use. All lifting equipment and machinery is inspected every 3 months and is marked with a color-coded tag to identify it as safe to use for that period. Beware of suspended loads. Never cross a barrier controlling drop and/or danger zones. Operations must stop if anyone enters the drop and/or danger zones. When working on lifting activities, use a tagline and stay clear of the drop and/or danger zones. Always warn others to stay clear. Do not walk under suspended loads. They can fall, causing serious life-threatening injuries or death. Forklift and crane operators must be competent and can refuse to lift loads that are not properly secured. Stay clear of moving vehicles, equipment and machines such as forklifts. They may not see you. Drivers must hoot to warn others before moving vehicles. Do not leave running vehicles unmanned. Do not leave keys in ignitions when not attended to. Stop anyone approaching or entering any drop or danger zones and/or failing to follow all requirements. When lifting heavy items, use your legs and not your back. Turn your feet in the direction of movement. Do not twist your trunk. If the item is too heavy, get someone to help you. The safe lifting maximum weight for men is 25 kilograms and for women 16 kilograms. Keep your fingers clear of pinch points. Do not work in awkward positions for any length of time without taking a break to stretch. Stacking may only be done in specified areas and is not permitted in front of emergency exits, firefighting or any other safety and emergency equipment. When stacking, please follow the maximum load requirements displayed. Do not stack more than 3 times the height of the width of the base, and polycans may only be stored too high. Chemicals must be stored in adequate and correctly labeled containers in specific areas. Know your chemicals. Do not store food or drinks in chemical containers. Pallets must be strapped. If a man cage or cherry picker is being used, a safety harness must be worn. Housekeeping means a place for everything and everything in its place. Keep passages, walkways and emergency exits clear. And don't allow materials to protrude from open edges. Keep your work area clean, tidy and safe at all times. Please separate waste and make use of the color-coded waste bins provided. Contractors are responsible for the removal of their own waste, such as building rubble. AECI is committed to responsible environmental management. This means that our responsible care principles must be applied to everything we do to make sure that we operate safely without impacting the environment. Make sure that water taps are closed after use, and that all electrical equipment and lights are switched off before leaving a work area. Spillages must be contained immediately using the spill containment equipment that is provided. Be sure to use the correct PPE when managing chemical spills. Spillages must never be allowed to enter stormwater drains, rivers or streams. Poor housekeeping can result in office accidents. Make sure that cupboards and drawers are closed. Do not stack on top of cupboards, and make sure that boxes are stacked safely on the floor. Only access high shelves and cupboards with a ladder and not a chair. And ensure that cables do not cross walkways. Please make sure that electrical connections are safe. Do not overload plug points or extension cables. Please remember that this video does not cover specific plant rules. Thank you for watching the safety induction video. Please work safely.